better words, of the system. And therefore, animal health is important. Humane treatment of animals, extremely important in a regenerative system. And there's nobody better to talk about that than Compassion in World Farming, who has worked for years to lobby in animal health, to put together a lot of amazing projects. And so with that, I want a big round of applause for Matthew Dominguez at Compassion in World Farming.
Thank you very much. Well, I think you said it well, so I'm done. Good afternoon, everyone. It is really an honor to be here today in this wonderful space with all of you, such wonderful people that are doing incredible work to make the world a better place, because the work that we are all doing is doing just that. It's to make the world better. First, I want to thank you all for being here, because at Climate Week, with the over 1,000 events that you could have been at, you're here today. And what that signals to me, and I hope it signals to all of you, is that, like me, you all care about transitioning to a better food system. A food system that is just, a food system that is compassionate. I want to thank everyone at Y Regenerative, and I want to thank Jackson and Cortland and all the whole team. Everyone, round of applause for the staff that put this together. This is a beautiful event. It's a beautiful space. My name is Matthew Dominguez, and I'm the U.S. Executive Director for Compassion in World Farming. We are on a mission to end factory farming. But more specifically, it's to transition our current food system to a more just, sustainable, and climate-friendly system that puts animals, people, and the planet at the heart of it, because that's where they belong. We also want to make sure that there is a balance between nature and our ethics. Our current food system is completely divorced of that. Climate Week is this really special time where thousands and thousands of people get to come together and we get to work on solutions. Solutions to fix the climate crisis that we all face. Now, there may be some people that want to deny that climate change is happening, but at the end of the day, we are all going to face this over the course of the next couple years and generations. It is the moral imperative, I think, of our generation. I can't think of a better issue to talk about, and a more important solution to think about is to have frank and direct conversations around one thing: food. What we put on our plate is one of the most important things that you can do to fight climate change. It's one of the most important things that you can do to bring about a new food system. I know these conversations can be difficult, but difficult conversations have to happen in a time like this. This is our tipping point. This is the time to have those difficult conversations, because we need solutions to change the course of history. I am often asked, why are you an animal advocate? I sometimes respond, well, why aren't you? But for me, there's a lot of reasons that bring me here today in the work that I do. There's a lot of little seeds that were planted along my life that brought me to this position, to this room, to this passion for fighting for animals. But what's really interesting, when I was preparing for this conversation, what I realized is it wasn't the books, it wasn't the talks, it wasn't an undercover investigation. It was working on my grandmother's cattle ranch. I am the grandson of a cattle rancher. Most weekends and summers, for about 50 cents an hour, you would find me on a 1,200-acre cattle ranch, a cow-calf operation in the foothills of California, where I worked with my grandmother to run our ranch and to run our farm. I still have vivid memories of sleeping in the spare room on this little tiny little bed, and there'd be a knock on the door very early in the morning. I certainly didn't want to get up. The light wasn't even out yet. And my grandmother would say, Matt, it's time to get up. We have to care for the animals. And what's interesting now that I reflect upon that word care, it's that phrase and it's that work on that farm that brought to me and instilled that we must be stewards. We must care for the animals, the soil, the water, the air that is in our custody. Now, the days on those farms were very long. Feeding the cows, feeding the horses, filling the water troughs, and that was just in the morning and the evening. That didn't count the fact that we had a walnut orchard, kiwis, and peaches. Now, despite spending time with the cows, which was my favorite, I really loved the peach orchards. One reason is it got me to drive the tractor. My grandmother let me drive the tractor. I did all of the disking. But one of the things that I loved about being in that orchard was that as we turned the earth up, we would see bugs. We would have birds and butterflies and bees. There would be jackrabbits. There would be squirrels. It was an ecosystem. It was alive. It was an ecosystem that allowed us the ability to produce something that we sold that fed our family. There was pride in that. But now, you fast forward several decades, when I go home to California, the ranch is pretty much gone because animal agriculture has basically run my family out of business to do cattle ranching. My grandma used to always say the best way to make a small fortune in cattle ranching is start out with a large one. The peach orchards that are around the family farm now, we don't own them. But one thing that's noticeable that when I go out there, it's silent. There are no birds. There are no squirrels. There are no jackrabbits. There's no bees. There's no butterflies. And I guarantee if I were to take a shovel and I were to dig into the ground, I would find nothing. And it's because what industrial agriculture has done to farming in the United States. Over the last several decades, we have taken the most fundamental part of our humanity, which is making food for our own survival, and we've completely divorced humanity from that by taking animals, putting them in sheds, locking them in cages, polluting our air, polluting our water, and polluting our soil. And we've all done this in the name of efficiency and profit in factory farming. We are at a crossroad. Whether we like to admit it or not, we are at a crossroad where we have two choices: extinction or regeneration. That's it. Those are the things that are before us right now. The UN warns us that we have about 60 harvests left before our soil essentially can't make anything more for us. If you look at the 9 planetary boundaries that we have already exceeded 6 of those. And for those of you who don't know what the planetary boundaries are, it is a framework that's developed by scientists that should not be debatable. It identified 9 critical processes for our Earth to regulate Earth's stability and security. 6 of them we have passed by. This is the safety in the operating space for us to have humanity, for us to live. And yet we have already pushed the Earth to the brink. If the Earth had vocal cords, she would be screaming right now. Of those 6 boundaries, climate change, biosphere integrity, biogeochemical flows, land system change, fresh water, chemical pollution, we are past the threshold. The 3 that are left, ocean acidity, aerosol loads, and ozone depletion, we're in the safe zone right now, but we're trending towards surpassing it. But the conversation that we need to have, and truly have, it may be difficult, is we need to talk about the role that industrial animal agriculture, factory farming, has on the impact of our planet and all of us. We cannot ignore this any longer. We have to talk about this. Greenhouse gas emissions. 16.5% of global greenhouse gas emissions are tied to industrial animal agriculture. This is methane, feed crops, manure, decomp, and then land use change. Namely, what we do is we tear down the forests, we put in feed crops, we grow feed, we feed it to animals, and then the animals are fed to us. It's an incredibly inefficient system. Water resources, 55% of the water in the United States is used for animal agriculture, while 5% is used for households. And I know, when I went to law school, I took a speaking class, and they said, hey, don't cite facts in your talks. But these are so incredibly important to put on the record for all of us. 50 to 70 trillion gallons of fresh water go to industrial animal agriculture. 65% of land use that's changed since the 1960s is because of agriculture. 80% of agricultural land is now used to grow food, but it only accounts for 17% of the caloric intake that we then produce. Biodiversity is another one. Agriculture, animal agriculture, industrial animal agriculture threatens nearly 80% of the species that are extinction risk. Livestock is responsible for 60% of biodiversity loss in this country. True regenerative agriculture is the solution. The work that all of you are doing, the producers, the farmers, all of you that are doing regen ag, you are the critical component to not only our recovery, but our comeback. You are the saviors of this planet. This work is so incredibly important, and that's why at Compassionate World Farming, we are so excited to work with organizations like ROC, AGA, CFAR, and then of course GAP. These are boards that we are on where we are trying to help ensure that as we move regenerative agriculture forward, that we do one thing, that we make sure that animals, people, and the planet remain at the heart of it when we're working on these policies. Now, there's a few actionable things that I want to recommend and for your consideration. Take it and leave it for whatever you would like, but these are the things that I would like to see us work on over the course of the next couple years. Animal welfare, human and planetary health must be at the heart of all the policies we work at. Whether it's corporate, legislative, or certifications, we cannot allow those elements to be siloed from each other. They are one in the same. We have to embrace a cyclical process and explain and understand that food, animals, soil, water, air, the ecosystem, it is a circle. It is the circle of life. We can't have it siloed and spread out as this direct line. We have to reduce our dependency on cheap meat. We have to eat a more plant-forward diet. We have to eliminate the use prophylactically antibiotics in industrial animal agriculture. We have to return animals to the land where they belong. The 9 to 10 billion animals that we slaughter in the United States never spend a day on grass. They never feel the sun on their back. They never get to walk around. This has to be an integral part of change in our system. We also have to scale with honesty. We have to have a mindset that less but better is the way that our food production system should be, and our food should be reflected in the cost of the actual cost to produce it. There is no reason a McDonald's hamburger should cost $3 and a salad should cost $25. And most importantly, we have to redirect subsidies. We have to take our taxpayer dollars back and move it away from industrial agriculture and move it towards the farmers and the producers that respect the land, that regenerate our soil, that protect animal welfare, and promote the ecological health of our planet. These are the principles that we need to move forward together to save this earth. My grandmother, Esther, she would support regenerative farming, but I think she'd laugh at the name. Because I think what she would say is, Matt, what you're talking about, it's farming. Plain and simple. It's farming. It's farming the way that it should be. I don't know all of you in this room, and I hope to, but I believe we all want the same thing. There are principles that we all can agree on. We want a healthy planet. We want a robust harvest. We want nutritional food to feed our families. And I hope that we can all agree that we want animals to be treated with compassion as they deserve. That future is within our reach. It is 100% in our reach. As humans, we are capable of such great things, but we must reach together to bring this about. Yesterday, I was at an event with Sarah Lake at the Tilt Collective, and she said 3 things that really struck me that I wanted to share with you. 1, this transition to a new food system, it's inevitable. It's going to happen because it must, for the sake of all of us. 2, we've done this before. At the end of the day, the modern system, the food system we currently have, as cruel as it is and inefficient, it was created, and it can just as much be replaced by something new and better. And this is what we're talking about here, is making the system new and better. And last but not least, the work has already begun. Countless inspiring people, including many of you in this room here, are already doing the hard work to make sure that we bring that future into reality. So I hope that leaves you with a little bit of hope, as it does me. Because together we must rise to this occasion. We must be a collective voice, whether it's ethical business, regenerative farmers, animal advocates, environmental champions, whatever you label yourself as. We must unite under this common cause to save us all. Now, we may not agree on everything, but I promise you we have far more in common and far more at stake together. This is an effort we must do. We can dismantle this broken food system. We can build one that nourishes us all, that restores our land, and that honors the lives of the billions of animals that are raised on factory farms, while also respecting the planetary boundaries that we must respect. Because at the end of the day, the earth doesn't care. This is our moment. This is our moment to stand up for true regeneration, not tomorrow, not someday, but now. We have to do this now. So what I would like to call on all of you to do is, let's be remembered as that generation that turned around and said no to exploitation and destruction, but rather said yes to building a better food system for all. Thank you all so much for being here, and I look forward to working with all of you on this fight.